Dungeon Siege 3 is an action RPG created by Obsidian Entertainment and published by Square Enix in 2011. It is a top-down dungeon looter. I am reviewing the PC version. In this game, you play as one of 4 characters. The character you choose locks in your class and playstyle, and also changes a great deal of dialogue. Needless to say, with 4 different classes and 4 unique story paths, the game has solid replayability. Each class has 2 distinct fighting styles, and you can easily switch between styles during combat with a touch of a button. I played the game using the warrior class, who can fight with a small sword and shield, or switch to a large 2-handed sword. The sword and shield is good for quick strikes on a single enemy, while the 2-handed sword is good for slow, sweeping attacks that hit multiple enemies. The other characters available include a spearwoman who can transform into a burning fire spirit who throws fireballs. There's also a mage and a gunner. During the story, the other playable characters will join as companions. You can't control them, but they are controlled by AI or a couch co-op friend. Only one companion is active in battle at a time. The companion is an extremely valuable asset. It is very good at offense, but lacks in defensive maneuvers. As long as the enemy is focused on you, your AI companion will tear the enemies apart. But once the enemies decide to attack your AI companion, your companion will take every attack to the face with no attempt to dodge or move. Also, during the final boss, when the boss finally drops on the floor and is vulnerable to damage for a precious 10 seconds, my AI companion just stood there and did nothing. If you don't mind spoilers, you could see it for yourself in my playthrough video in the description below. If you're lucky enough to have a friend who wants to play with you, you could have your friend control the AI companion. Good couch cooperative games are scarce nowadays. Almost all multiplayer games are either solo or online, and it's rare to get a true AAA game with cooperative play that is integrated throughout the entire game. While I was unable to find someone to play with me, I would imagine it would be a lot more fun with the right person. Let's talk a little bit about the mechanics. You could attack, switch stance, block, roll dodge, and use skills. There are 3 active skills per stance, and there are 3 defensive skills. As you level up, you choose which skill you want to unlock, and which skill you want to strengthen. Each skill has 2 possible upgrade paths. As you defeat enemies, break environmental objects, and open chests, they will drop gold and new gear. Each gear is only equipable on a specific character and has random stats. High rarity gear are dropped from quests, mini-bosses, and bosses. You can sell unwanted gear to the merchant or transmute for a chance to get an enchant item to strengthen existing gear. Dungeon Siege 3 seems to make the enemies harder depending on your level. This means that no matter where you are in the game or character progress, there will always be a decent amount of challenge. Many players seem to agree that Dungeon Siege 3 is quite difficult. Even normal enemies hit quite hard. There's no invincibility window after you get hit, so if enemies surround you and simultaneously land a hit, you're gonna drop before you even realize it. Instead of attacking, you find yourself dodging and blocking most of the time and waiting for the right opportunity to land a couple hits. Thankfully, almost all attacks are telegraphed for at least 1 second. The dodge roll is also very powerful in this game, with a lot of invincibility frames, high travel distance, and low recovery. There are no healing consumables in this game. The only way to heal is to use defensive skills, but defensive skills require focus that can be obtained by landing hits. You can also recover health by killing enemies and hoping for a health orb, or attacking with a weapon with vampire attribute. This means in order to have a steady supply of health coming back to you, you need to successfully land hits. However, if you try to land hits carelessly, you might end up getting even more damaged and even more behind on healing. You have to do your best at avoiding damage and land hits safely. If you watch my playthrough, you notice I die a few times. I was playing on my phone on the bus using a remote streaming app targeting my home PC. The additional 80 milliseconds of video in input latency, the 5.5-inch screen, the compressed video, the reflective sunlight, and the bumpy ride made it very difficult to tell where the enemies were and what enemies were doing. I would often try to attack my ally thinking she was an enemy. This is the first game that I had trouble playing on the bus. This game was clearly meant to be played on a TV or monitor. The biggest issue I noticed about this game was that the camera would suddenly snap directly in front of your character so that your character's body blocks the entire screen. This means you can't see any enemy or environment, and I would be desperately trying to mash the dodge button while readjusting my camera. This happened at least a dozen times, and it was very intrusive. However, other than this problem, I had a very good experience. The art and lighting are spectacular. The environment is very pleasant with a lot of attention to detail. The character voice acting is spot on and immersive, and the writing is exceptional. Each character has so much personality, expressed in so few words. The sound effects are very atmospheric. The side quests are also very interesting. I haven't encountered a single dull side quest, and that's very rare in an RPG. Each side quest was as fun as the main story. If you're into beat-em-ups or dungeon looters, I recommend giving this game a try. The customization system isn't that deep, but the 4 playstyles are solid and the game is polished. You can also check out my playthrough, linked in the description below. Thanks for watching and happy gaming!